Hi. Well, I thought what we would do today is just have a little mini coaching session, business coaching session. And I thought that what we would do is just take a little something, a little concept, and think about that in terms of what can we do to better ourselves and how can I continue to help you with what you are working so hard to learn. So I've been reading several books, and one is this book right here. That's Confidence by Rosebeth Moss Cantner. And I have also been reading Peter Drucker's The Effective Executive. I've also been reading, as you can see, I have my marking here, Leading Leaders by Jeswald Salacuse. I have also been reading a book on crucial conversations. And so what I thought I would do today is pull just a couple of excerpts from each and talk about them in terms of when we get together to do our one-on-one coaching session, how this might be a platform for our conversation. So the first book that I want to talk about is Confidence by Rosebeth and Moss Cantner. And on page 145, if you happen to have this book, on page 145, it says, is it possible to slide into a cycle of decline without even knowing it until the pattern of losing becomes visible to everyone? The symptoms get harder to ignore, the underlying weakness is harder to deny. Time and excuses begin to run out. Momentum and appearances begin to run down. Quick fixes and facelifts no longer work. Keeping up a brave front is impossible. Cosmetic change, what I call putting lipstick on a bulldog, cannot hide the ugliness nor change the nature of the beast. What this author is saying in the book Confidence here is that sometimes taking a really good hard look in the mirror at ourselves to see where are my strengths and weaknesses as a leader. And for some leaders, I'm not saying for anyone in particular, not even you, this is just a perspective we're looking at, and that is maybe we lack some confidence somewhere. And if we take a downward spiral into not even realizing that we're having that downward spiral, what they are saying here is that we can definitely work our way out of it, but the choice has to be ours, which is what he goes on to say. As a matter of fact, they say now a deliberate choice needs to be made, whether to let decline turn into death or try to restore health. And as this goes on, it is that the choice is ours, that we have to make that choice, which I think is, I like this because it goes hand in hand with the other aspects of what we continue to talk about, which are the 7 habits of highly effective people. It's a choice to go through that training, and it is a choice to practice those habits as well. The second one is Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker is very famous, and he, in the Effective Executive, on page 100. I really like what he talks about here because it connects to 7 habits. It's first things first. And it says, is there any one secret to effectiveness? It is constant. If there is any one secret to effectiveness, it is concentration. So if we look back over here at this one, this is concentration. If I'm going to make the conscious choice to be a better leader and to look at my weaknesses and really work on them, then that is concentrating on it. He further says effective executives do first things first, and they do one at a time. I think in this instance, first things first for people who want to excel at leadership, take that look at themselves and say, where is it that I'm not being effective for my staff or for my team or for my colleagues or for my supervisor? And I think that what he talks about here and being the effective executive, he is right on target. You know, we put first things first. Another way that we could look at first things first is how I organize my life, myself, my tasks, my relationships. We can't work on all of them at once. Today, I might work on organizing my tasks, which is something we can talk further about. Or today I might focus on organizing my relationships. As Covey would say, putting those relationships in order is the precursor to effectiveness. And then lastly, in another book that I'm reading, Leading Leaders, I love this one. And on page 23, and I think the reason that I love this one is because it talks about leaders like Churchill, Kennedy, and King. This author takes a look at what did they have in common that made them so successful. They were perceived as successful. They were talked about as successful. And on page 23 it says, communication as the key leadership relationships to the relationships. How do these three men create that relationship? They did it through communication. Churchill, Kennedy, and King created that relationship through their extraordinary communication skills. Communication is fundamental to building relationships and therefore the ability to lead. Indeed, leadership could not exist without communication. We know we've seen leaders all over the world that do not communicate effectively. They do not know how to hold crucial conversations, and they fail, and bad things happen. And if we think about that in terms of the see do get cycle, you know, if they believe that leadership is all about dictating, then the behaviors that they engage in the do are dictating type of behaviors, ordering, um, being critical, bossing, maybe to the verge of bullying. And the gets are relationships that are damaged, relationships in all levels of their working relationship. Again, if we go back to here, we can't mask. And then Covey, in connection to this, is saying that we can't have just character, we have to have integrity as well. Um, uh, Also goes to say leaders communicate to their followers in many ways, but one can basically divide leadership communication in two types, mass produced and tailor made. And it's the tailor made that we can talk more about. It's just a really quick video that is hopefully something we can talk further about. All right, see you later.